Welcome to Debate It Forward's second annual Kid Presidential Debate. I'm so excited to see so many of you joining the Zoom right now. So thank you so much for being here with us tonight. My name is Asha Dave and I will be your MC this evening. So I am a Debate It Forward alum. I taught classes at NKO and City Elementary when I was an undergrad at UChicago a few years ago, and it was one of the best experiences of my college career. So when Leah asked me to MC tonight's event, the answer was an immediate yes. I'm always excited to help spread the word about DIF's programming and make sure that even more kids are given this awesome, unique opportunity. And if you're trickling in and you're less familiar with DIF, you might be asking yourself, what exactly is this unique opportunity? So before we introduce our students and our guest moderator to begin our presidential debate, let me introduce Debate It Forward's fearless executive director, Leah Shapiro, to tell you a little bit more.
Thank you, Asha. And thank you everyone for being here tonight. I'm honored and humbled that you've taken time out of your busy schedules to learn more about Debate It Forward and to support our DIF students in our second annual presidential debate. I had the idea for Debate It Forward when I was attending the University of Chicago, and I was driving with my 6-year-old cousin who was having an epic temper tantrum. I had been a competitive debater for years, so an idea popped in my head, and I said, let's play a game called Debate. I'll make an argument, and you have 10 seconds to prove me wrong. He was instantly captivated, the temper tantrum was over, and I became inspired. I thought, what if debate put fun and learning ahead of competition? And what if games like this could really help kids develop skills like public speaking, critical thinking, logical reasoning, and empathetic listening? So I founded Debate It Forward with my fellow UChicago alum, Josh Aronson, in 2016. 5 years later, Debate It Forward hosts in-school, after-school, and summer camp enrichment classes. We teach students from pre-K through 9th grade how to listen better, ask thoughtful questions, and communicate their beliefs in constructive ways. Our goal is not to raise the next generation of great debaters, but rather to help kids become deeper thinkers, empathetic listeners, and confident speakers. At Debate It Forward, we believe that kids of all ages, and even adults, can learn to master the 3 lifelong skills that lead to healthy discourse: listening, thinking, and speaking. I've invited some of our best DIF students to explain what we mean. Azan, why don't you kick us off?
Hi, I'm Azan, and I am a DIF student. At DIF, we learned that talking past each other doesn't work. We learn how to become active listeners and to understand different point of view. We play games like role play debate, where we take different perspectives and debate from new point of view.
Hi, I'm Tosh, and I'm a DIF student. At DIF, we learn to think before speaking. We learn how to conduct research and weigh evidence so that our ideas are grounded in facts. We play games like Words Are Different, where we have to do our research to find out where our DIF teacher is hiding in the world.
Hi, I'm Amar, and I'm a DIF student. At DIF, we learn that our voices matter. We learn public speaking strategies, and we learn how to ask thoughtful questions that keep conversations moving instead of shutting down. We play games like infomercial game, where we make persuasive pitches for broken objects as the perfect birthday gift.
Thank you so much for your help, Azan, Taj, and Amar. I'm proud to share that over the last 5+ years since we've started Debate It Forward, we've worked with over 3,350 students and have helped them develop these skills through our programming, most of whom attend schools in low-income neighborhoods or possess diverse learning and developmental needs. And we're only growing. We won't stop until we realize our vision of a world where disagreement doesn't breed disparagement, where empathy is second nature, and where every young person can confidently answer the question, what do you think and why? Before I pass the baton back to Asha, I'd like to take a moment to personally thank our event sponsors whose support has made this event possible: Evershed Sutherland's, Latham & Watkins, Adtalem Global Education, Mayor Brown, and Aero Services Center.
Thanks, Leah. Our sponsors this evening have made generous contributions to help us bring DIF programming to another 75 campers this summer and more than 1,000 students next school year. But we're not quite there yet. We also need your help to expand our programs to reach more students from all backgrounds. So tonight, if you're impressed with what you see and you want Debate It Forward to continue to grow, we're asking you to consider making a contribution of any size. And for the next week, your donation will be doubled so you can make twice the impact. That's right, a few of our closest supporters, Jim and Karen Frank and Sam Yagan and Jessica Drost Yagan, have agreed to match every dollar that we raise over the next week up to $20,000. So that means if you give 500, our friends will throw in another 500 to match your gift, or if you donate 25, that donation will automatically become $50 and so on. All you have to do is click on the link I dropped in the chat or text DIF to 44321 to make a donation at any time throughout the next hour. Debate It Forward's amazing board of directors also wanted to make sure we kicked off our donation drive with a bang. So board member Priscilla Kirsten has already pledged $6,000 to get us started. We're already on a roll, so we'll be checking back in to see how we're progressing towards our $20,000 goal as the debate progresses, but there's no need to wait to donate. Get in there and donate now. Thank you in advance for all your support, and thank you to all of you who have already made a donation when you registered for the event. Your generosity is really what makes this all possible. And now, without further ado, it is time for our presidential debate, what you've all been waiting for. We have 4 fantastic, incredible, amazing candidates for you to meet tonight. They've been busy prepping their platforms based on a list of 10 broad topics we provided, but they have no idea what questions we're going to be asking. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Ava, who will introduce our guest moderator.
Hi, I'm Ava, and I'm a Debate It Forward student. I'm happy to introduce tonight's guest. He used to work with President Obama, and now he's the director of the U Chicago Institute of Politics. His name is David Axelrod. Welcome, David.
Thank you so much. That was maybe the best introduction I've ever gotten. So thank you so much. I've had the honor of working for presidential candidates for debates, working with a president around debates, but I'm so thrilled to be here today to be with all of you, because debate is not just about articulating a point of view strongly. It's also the ability to listen and reason and hear competing points of view and contending with them and perhaps absorbing some of them, those arguments. So this is a wonderful exercise and a great organization, and I'm just pleased to be with you. Now, without further ado, let's meet our candidates and begin the debate. Our candidates are all between 6th and 8th grade. They were nominated to take part in tonight's debate because they've demonstrated exceptional commitment to Debate It Forward's core tenets. They've been given a list of 10 general questions, general topics, I should say, that may come up tonight in order to prepare their platforms, but they have not seen any of the questions I'll be asking. After they introduce themselves in a brief opening statement, we'll move on to the questions. I will pose a question. Any debater that wishes to respond will raise the response card, and I'll call on a candidate to give a 1-minute reply. After the first candidate has spoken, another candidate must provide a rebuttal by holding up their rebuttal card. After the rebuttal, we will return to the first candidate for a defense or welcome a third candidate to jump in and defend the original position. Then we'll move on to the next question. Each round will follow that sequence of response, rebuttal, defense. Each reply, debaters, should be no longer than 1 minute, with each discussion lasting a maximum of 3 minutes. One more thing before we begin. All of you in the audience have the chance to participate in our debate as well by deciding the last question of the evening. You should see a Q&A tab on the right side of your screen. It's not the chat box, but it's near it. Any audience member may pose a question in the Q&A box, and then I encourage other audience members to vote on the question you like best. When we're nearing the end of our debate, I'll choose one of the most popular questions to pose to our candidates. And we don't have a lot of time, so start posing some questions right now. Now, without further ado, as I said, let's meet the candidates for their 45-second opening statements, and we'll first hear from Jory Willis.
Hello, good evening. I'm Jory Willis. We all agree that policing, gun violence, and lack of fair opportunities and resources have a great impact on the world today. If we put in efforts to make changes, we can improve our quality of life. My Right Track program, shadow policing, and my universal background check programs all focus on improving life in America. I believe in justice for all, once and for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Jory. Now, Yusef Jackson.
Hello, my name is Yusef Jackson. My legacy would be to give a voice to the unheard. We can all agree that the standard of human rights in America is a little lacking, and I would like to raise that and serve as a model for other countries. First, we would improve race relations in the United States, tighten gun laws, and helping low-income areas heal from the damages of drug abuse. Helping raise the standards of human rights in America would serve as a model for other countries.
Thank you, Yusef. Next, Mary Julie Ngweke.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming here tonight. My name is Mary Julie Ngweke, and I am pleased to be one of the presidential candidates here. I want to be a president because I believe that America can be a better nation and can do better if we reduce carbon emissions and other greenhouse gases that can cause health risks, increase the amount of racial equality in society, and raise the quality of education in America. There are still many problems to solve in this world, but we take the initial step by solving these problems first. The change will not come fast, but the change will come. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, finally, Sally Schwartzman.
Hello, I'm Sally Schwartzman, and I'm running for President of the United States because I believe that everybody in America deserves a fair chance. I also believe that everybody all around the world deserves a fair chance. Here at home, the starting point to having a fair chance is education. So that's why I would like to recognize a federal right to education, including pre-K. In order to achieve a fair chance abroad, we need to stop climate change. So that's why I would like to encourage people to use alternate forms of energy and offer financial incentives to companies in order to go green. So remember, one vote for me is one vote for a fair chance.
Thank you all for those great opening statements. Now we'll move on to questions. And the first question is this. Recently, most states have eliminated mask mandates for COVID. Knowing that COVID is so unpredictable, if new variants emerge, should we reimpose mask requirements and other restrictions? And how would those impact everyday Americans? And who wants to tackle that first? I will call on a candidate. Jory, why don't you take that on?
I believe that if we impose new mask laws for new variants, it will have a great effect on the way that people are affected by COVID. I believe that if we can find different ways to keep each other safe, then we can do whatever we can do to help COVID not spread. And if there's new variants, then we should, of course, impose new mask laws and also make it a requirement for people over 5 to receive the vaccine shot.
Okay, is there a response? Sully, go ahead.
Okay, although I agree with most of your points, I think that really what we should be doing is following what the CDC recommends. So I agree, we should mask up for new variants, but I think that really what we should be focusing on is what the CDC tells us. And we should be protecting everybody, but the CDC has the best way to do that because they are trained professionals. So I think that what we should really be trying to do is have the CDC be a better place. Well, not really. Make the CDC a more open place and less kind of political, less influenced by, political everything, and just focus on what the CDC tells us to do.
Jory, you want to respond?
Exactly. That's why I believe that if we incentivize people that are 18 or older with a yearly check of maybe $1,000 if they receive both full shots of the vaccine plus a booster shot, it will encourage more people to get the vaccine and keep others safe.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the second question. Florida just passed the Parental Rights in Education bill, also known as the Don't Say Gay bill, restricting teachers from addressing topics like sexual orientation in early elementary school. 42 other states have introduced bills to limit so-called divisive topics, mostly concerning race and gender. If you were in office, would you support these state policies, and how would you address this controversy? Okay, well, let me call on Mary Julie on this one.
I'm sorry, I would ask you to repeat the question.
I also have to turn off my, I said Florida just passed the Parental Rights in Education bill, also known as the Don't Say Gay bill, restricting teachers from addressing topics like sexual orientation in early elementary school. 42 other states have introduced bills to limit so-called divisive topics, mostly concerning race and gender. If you were in office, would you support these state policies, and how would you address this controversy?
I would address this controversy as, well, I believe that trans athletes are equal, and that all sports teams, for example, you know that sports teams are they are split apart by genders, males team and females team. I think that all the teams should be co-ed so that there are no troubles with problems like trans athletes and so that we won't have a problem with gender this equality, I guess. Yes, I'm sorry.
It's okay. A rebuttal. Jory, you have your card up. Go ahead.
You made a great point, but I think we were talking about school censorship, and if it was a good idea if teachers should talk about topics such as LGBTQ and other things like that. So I really do believe what you said about trans athletes is true, but I think we should keep more on topic.
Go ahead for the response, Mary Julia. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I wasn't able to understand the topic, but I believe that school censorship can be both good and bad. School censorship helps protect the child from inappropriate and harmful topics on the internet, and sometimes in certain books. I can understand if parents don't want their child knowing those things, but it can also prevent students from learning anything about what the world is actually like.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the third question. Banning certain politicians on Twitter has recently spotlighted whether we have the right to free speech on social media. Some argue that private companies have the right to limit certain speech, and some argue this silences unpopular views. What's your stance on this issue, and how would you address it? Yes, Youssef.
Yes, social medias are owned by private companies and outside businesses and people, but they should not be able to censor people's voices unless they were to implement a 3-strike rule, where if something is said inappropriate in favor of a political party, then they would be able to get banned or censored. But they should be looked into by real people, not AIs, so that they can be decided if they were deemed inappropriate, and the person should be able to file an appeal if he or she feels that they should have not been banned.
Thank you. Do we have a rebuttal? If no one has oh, go ahead, Sally.
So while I agree that maintaining free speech is very important, I think that it would be very expensive to require companies to hire real people to investigate people to have a 3-strike rule. And I think that we do need to censor things, because if we don't censor things, then things like conspiracy theories and other really bad things like Holocaust denial and stuff like that are easily spread. And with a 3-strike rule, it can keep people spreading them. And
Okay, Sally. Youssef, you want to respond?
Yes, if companies don't have enough money to, they should be required to, because where else would that money go? Because companies already have a banning rule where bots look into them, and a lot of time these bots are supposed to be people, but it's easier for a bot to ban someone, and bots cannot understand context and things around the situation or the topic or the tweet or post or whatever it was. And they could ban things like words that were appropriate for the context, but otherwise may not be. And I think Sally said something about conspiracy theory spreading, and conspiracy theories are already not banned, and they are already spread, but have not become a majority opinion or a agreeable opinion or an opinion taken seriously. And if a conspiracy theory is deemed inappropriate, as I said, you could get banned or you could get striked or whatever it is, but there are still ways around that.
Thank you. Thank you. We've all been witnessing the events in Ukraine. Let me ask you this. The Russian invasion resulted in significant destruction that continues to grow. This war doesn't seem to have a clear end. If you were in office, how would you respond to this invasion? And are economic sanctions enough, or should we impose stronger penalties? Yes, Mary Julie.
We do not want to get involved with Russia by sending American troops to fight. Since Ukraine is not in NATO, we cannot get involved. But if Russia attacks a NATO member like Poland, we would have to get involved. But for now, there is nothing we could do to help Ukraine that won't start a World War III with Russia. The most we could do is get as many citizens from Ukraine and bring them away from trouble, and to supply Ukraine with weapons.
Thank you. Jory.
I agree. Of course, we don't want to send American troops to Russia or anything like that. We don't want to start a new World War III. But I do believe that we could at least send resources to help the Ukrainian people and not get as much deeply involved with the situation, but we could at least find different ways to help without sending troops.
And yes, Youssef.
I agree, but some could say that we are already involved with war because our president has disagreed with Putin and publicly condemned him. And we cannot determine what Russia interprets as getting involved in war. And since we've already cut off most communication and trading with Russia, why not send more support to Ukraine? Because as I said, we cannot determine what Russia deems involving ourselves in the war, and we have already shown support to Ukraine. So if we send more, there should not be any harm.
Thank you. Thank you all. Leah Thomas, a top collegiate swimmer, is a trans woman, and we had a little discussion of this before. Now she competes on the women's team. This sparked intense debates on the inclusion of transgender athletes in competitions. If you were in office, what's your stance on trans athletes participating in sports that align with their gender identity? Does your stance change if it's at the collegiate or professional level? Yes, Solly.
I think that trans athletes should be allowed to compete. And we should also do away with the entire gendered system that we currently have in sports. So people who are non-binary or don't conform to a gender will not feel welcomed in our current sports system. And so we need to do away with that. And I propose a sports system where everybody's measured based on muscle mass so that you can separate people in ways that don't disclude people, so that everybody can feel included and that everybody can compete regardless of their gender identity or sexual orientation.
Jory?
Yes, I completely agree with you. I think the gender mass situation solution is a great idea, but I feel like another way that it could not spark as so many debates is maybe if we require trans athletes to take at least 5 months worth of hormones, so it would be more equal for if they were playing the sport. I mean, I think the muscle mass, that's a great idea too, but this is just what I think would help more if you were to impose that idea.
Okay, Youssef?
I agree and disagree with both. I feel as if all athletes are measured on muscle mass instead of gender, I feel like even without a gender dynamic, there are still social, political, physical, there's still different dynamics other than your choice of gender. And I feel as if there was a year of testing for each people who conform to whatever gender to see, because I know a big problem is benefits for trans athletes or whatever it may be. So if there's a year to measure those benefits or non-benefits, then it would be more fair to determine what league you should be allowed to play in.
I'm going to ask a final question, then we're going to take one from the audience. It seems that Americans are divided more than ever in their politics and beliefs. We see that all the time. What ideas do you have to help our country get back on track and embrace tolerance? Yeah, Solly.
I think that the best way to get everybody back on track, although it might take some time, is to change the way that we teach students. In order to get everybody on the same page and get everybody back on track, we can't change everybody's mind. And people as adults, their minds are particularly hard to change. But if we change the school system, then we can redirect our future with slight nudges in the base.
Yeah, Jory.
What about the students whose parents tell them that this side is better and this side is worse? I feel like the parents would have more of an influence than school when it comes to big topics like that.
Youssef?
I agree that parents also have a big impact on opinions and the way you think, but I feel like if we made schools feel more comfortable and more well-suited for kids to give their opinions on things without feeling socially inclined to say something or do another, I feel that our society will be more in a place of like on track. Because if you are faced with hiding yourself at school to say things at home, that's not healthy either.
All right, now comes the question that the audience voted, and it is, what do you think ought to be the right voting age? Should it be under 18? And if so, what age would you favor? Yeah, Youssef?
A favorable age for voting, I feel, should be 21, because that's drinking age, and many times 18-year-olds statistically still live with their parents or are in college. And I feel like once you break out of that bubble, and it may have a relation to being of drinking age, then I feel like you have more time to build up your own opinions without it being too late to vote. Because if the older demographic was only allowed to vote, and I also feel that that's not good, so a younger demographic should. But I feel like when you become of drinking age and you kind of break out of that bubble in your parents' footsteps, then I feel that would be a better suit age.
Solly?
I agree with you about breaking out of the bubble, but I really think that 18 is a pretty good voting age, because at 18, you begin to, well, you've already begun to think for yourself, and you're really developing your opinions and knowing where your stance is in the world. So it's a very good age to vote without needing to, without making it too young or too old, so that people who are smart enough to vote don't get a chance, or people who are still heavily influenced by their parents are just voting as extra votes for their parents.
Jory?
I agree with Yusuf that 21 is a good age, because people that are younger tend to be influenced more when it comes to votes. And I feel like they should have their mindset on who they want to vote, instead of someone just coming up and saying, oh, you should vote for this person because blah, 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 when they already believe in who they should vote for. I believe maybe 21 to 24 is also a good voting age, because your brain is fully developed as you get older, and it would be easier to make a choice instead of people influencing you before you vote. So yeah, I agree with you, Seth, on this one. Thank you.
Did we get, yes, I think that, did we go through the three on this? Have we gotten a rebuttal and a defense? Let me just opine that listening to you guys, you could make a pretty good argument for reducing the voting age to 12. But that's just my opinion. And now it's time for our closing statements, and let's do them in the reverse order that we began with. So Solly, why don't you start?
Okay, so wait, sorry. I would like, as President of the United States, as I said in my intro, I would like to give everybody a fair chance, no matter what the topic, no matter if it's Ukrainians fighting Russia, no matter if it's people in the school system who should become fully fledged adults. I just want to give everybody a fair chance. So remember, it's your vote that matters. If you vote for me, it's a vote for a fair chance. Also, I would like to thank Debate It Forward for giving me a chance to have this opportunity. And thank you, Debate It Forward, for teaching the next generation how to debate.
Great. Mary Julie, you're next.
I appreciate all of you for letting us come to this event. I'm honored that we got to participate in the presidential debates. I promise to come to pass in all the things I have said in my campaign. I will make sure to be a good president. I will also work hard to make America great again. We could work together to achieve that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yusuf.
First, I would like to thank you for coming on. I would like to thank the parents and the debaters and everyone joining. But today we live in division, divided socially, economically, physically, mentally, almost any way that you can think of. To come together, we must help those who need helping. By lifting those at the bottom, we all rise. You should vote for me because my legacy will be to improve racial boundaries and to improve the America that we live in today. And that will set a bar for other countries to follow. Thank you.
Jory, you're the final closing statement.
I would also like to thank David for giving me the opportunity to debate. But if you're interested in fairness, equal opportunity, and a shot at improving life for yourself and families around you, I believe my Right Track program, shadow policing, and universal background check laws will help not make just this country, but not just this country, but the whole world a better place. I would like to take a few moments to discuss my Right Track program. It's a program where it's directly towards people of color who struggle with income problems. And it provides resources like housing, food, and education for people who don't have the opportunities to get access to those things. Jobs is a really big and important issue that we have right now. And I believe that if we have reparations for those people who join the program, such as business grants, 2 years free of college, free counseling in neighborhoods, and just other reparations like that. And I believe that if we put forth effort to make these changes, then we can make America good again. Thank you.
Thank you all. I think everyone watching, the whole audience, would agree that we have all winners tonight in this debate. And as is the custom of Debate It Forward, where we will give individual awards. And I am pleased to announce these awards. They're in the category of Always Active Listener, Yusef Jackson. This award goes to the candidate who showed the best active listening skills for the rest of their fellow candidates, a critical component of a successful debater. Congratulations, Yusef. Wonderful wordsmith, Jory Willis. This award goes to the debater who was concise, precise, made sure every word counted in all of their answers and speeches. Congratulations to you, Jory. Precise policymaker, Solly Schwartzman. This award goes to the debater who presented the most tangible, real-world, and concrete policy solutions to the issues raised in the debate. Solly, congratulations to you. And then finally, the ultimate empathizer, Mary Julie Ngwege. Okay, this award is given to the candidate who utilized their empathy skills most effectively. They thoughtfully considered the perspective of the opposing candidates to better understand and relate to opposing candidates. So Mary Julie, congratulations to you as well. And thank you for the honor of being part of this. I suspect that I will see you guys in some other forum someday soon, but it's been an honor to be in this one with you.
All right. That was incredible. I don't know about you all, but I am astounded by everything that our candidates spoke about today with such eloquence. They are truly some amazing kids, and I'm sure there's a future president sitting in our midst today. So thank you for presenting your well-formed, compelling platforms and for engaging in a thoughtful and respectful exchange of ideas. And I would also like to take a moment to thank David Axelrod for serving as guest moderator this evening. As the co-director of UChicago's Nonpartisan Institute of Politics, David has inspired thousands of young people to approach public policy and civic engagement with an open mind, a commitment to facts and critical inquiry, all while respecting the diversity of thought in our city and throughout the country. We're truly honored to share these goals with David and to pursue them together. And everyone can agree, he was a great moderator. So thank you so much for your time. And now let's check in with our fundraising goal. Remember that we're hoping to raise $20,000 over the next week, and then our friends Jim and Karen Frank and Sam Yegan and Jessica Drost Yegan will match all of your donations to turn that $20,000 right into $40,000. And it looks like we're getting there with a little over $17,000 raised so far. You guys are amazing, and thank you so much. And we're not done yet. We still have a few minutes left in the hour that you won't want to miss. So if you haven't had the chance to donate yet, now is the time. And if you're wondering where your donation goes, here is a little snapshot. I think it's going to come up in a second, but here we go. If you're feeling really inspired and generous tonight, you can sponsor our weekly in-school programming for an entire classroom or even an entire grade level at one of our participating schools next year. So just imagine the difference you can make there. And if that's out of your capacity, but you want to make a difference in a kid's life today, then you can provide a camp scholarship for $450 or sponsor a kid throughout the school year for $150. The funds we raise today really allow us to offer scholarships to students who can't afford to pay for camp fees and to bring our programming to schools that don't have the kind of funding for enrichment that other programs do. And if you can't support at any of our suggested levels today, that is completely fine. Any amount donated to DIF makes a huge difference, and it will be matched tonight and through the next week. So click on the link in the chat or text DIF to 44321 right now to make a contribution. And I know I just told you a lot about the numbers, but to really understand the impact we can make together today, you need to hear it straight from one of our DIF students and parents. So we put together a little video highlighting one of our longtime DIFers, Theo. Let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Theo, and I am 15 years old, and I go to the school Walcott, and I've been doing Debate It Forward for 5 years.
Hi, my name is Debbie Nelson. I'm a professor of English at the University of Chicago, and my son Theo has been a Debate It Forward student and summer camper for 5 years. We were introduced to Debate It Forward by our babysitter, Leah Shapiro, who is one of the founders. We thought that it would be a great after-school program for Theo's school. So Theo went to Hyde Park Day School, which is a school for bright kids with learning disabilities. 90% of the children have language-based learning disabilities, and Theo has a language-based learning disability. I thought this would be a fun way for them to be just verbal and experimental without having it feel like labor. And it didn't. It always felt like fun to them. One of the things I've always loved about DIF is that they have a lot of hilarious ways of encouraging the kids to make arguments. And I knew that this particular sense of humor would appeal to my son and to some of his friends. So, you know, they give you a broken spoon and they tell you to describe why it's the greatest birthday present ever. And they just thought that was hilarious.
My favorite DIF game is Pork, because you have to pay attention to what people are doing and the slight differences in their personality.
It was not just funny and amusing for them to play some of the DIF games, but he really had a sense of success. So he could really be good at something that was verbal, that was language-based, but that I think wasn't his experience in school or hadn't been his experience.
One thing I learned about speaking in Debate It Forward was that you want to make yourself clear and be able to have everybody understand what you're talking about. Easier after a while, because I started learning how to explain things easier without being choppy.
They also ran summer camps, and Theo has done summer camp every year, through 8th grade.
Camp is fun. It has a lot of stuff to do, like we have lunch together, we do games, have break, and go on field trips.
He loved the field trips. It's such a clever construction for camp because it gives them something fun and that feels free and easy and just playful for kids. But then it's in the meantime providing them a whole lot of context and ideas and information that they can then think through in terms of their debates.
Debate It Forward has made a difference in my life because it helps me with more public speaking in more of a serious term than just rambling on with friends. And it made it a lot easier to confront people and actually talk to them instead of just being shy and just backing off.
One thing I would like to see in Debate It Forward's future is programs in every Chicago public school.
Debate It Forward is a good place for kids because it helps with their social skills and being a more mature person.
Please join me in donating to Debate It Forward. Let's make sure that every kid who wants to participate can, and sort of cash out the promise of our democracy by including everyone who wants to be part of a conversation.
I think debating forward is good for kids because you can learn how to start talking back to your parents.
Wow. A huge thank you to Theo and Debbie for sharing your story. I remember when I was a teacher, and it was just incredible to see how much the students grew over the course of a year and even more. And it's really inspiring to see just how much DIF made a difference in Theo's life. And we have raised an impressive $19,649 thus far in under an hour. You guys are truly incredible, and thank you so much for supporting DIF. So since every dollar will be matched by Jim and Karen Frank and Sam Yegan and Jessica Drosiegan, that means we've raised double that amount. Oh, I see the numbers inching up in live time, but let's see if we can break through that 20K barrier today. Again, we really appreciate it. And beyond this hour, I just want to let you know that you can still donate and have your donation match for the next week, ending on Thursday the 12th at 6 p.m. Although it doesn't look like we'll need it. We are very nearly there. But if you still want to donate, go ahead. And if you want to share this recording with your friends and ask them to support us too, we will love you forever. So we'll be sure to email you with a link to the recording tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. We'll also be posting little snippets on social media to see all the highlight, basically the highlight reel of the last hour. And also wanted to let you know that if you'd rather send a check to our offices instead of donating online, that's perfectly okay too. I will drop the address in the chat for you in just a moment. And together we are all really moving Debate It Forward into a new phase of growth, but I really want to hear from Leah. What are all our donors helping us achieve tonight?
That's a great question, Asha. So as I mentioned, Debate It Forward's a little over 5 years old. And as I said, in that time, we've worked with over almost 3,500 students at 26 different schools and hosted 24 different camp sessions. We are also able to award $335,000 in financial aid. And I'm happy to say we've met 100% of every single financial aid request, all thanks to donors like you. With your continued support, I have ambitious goals for the future of Debate It Forward. 5 years from now, in 2027, DIF plans to serve 5,000 students every year across 50 schools, with 75% of our students identifying as low income or as diverse learners. We'll also bring our program into alternative schools, juvenile detention centers, and homeless shelters, and build out a new leadership program for high school youth. Who knows, we may even expand into another city. Again, I can't do it without you, so let me take another moment to thank all of you who make this work possible. Thank you to the entire Debate It Forward Board of Directors, to all the fantastic UChicago undergrads who serve as our teachers and interns, and all the parents, school administrators, and teachers who partner with us to reach students with our program. A huge thank you to everyone who participated tonight. David Axelrod, Asha, our matching donors, Jim and Karen Frank, and Sam Yegan and Jessica Drosiegan, our sponsors, and of course, our fantastic presidential candidates and other DIF students who shared their experiences tonight. Finally, thank you to everyone for tuning in to learn more about us and to cheer on our students. And thank you for helping us raise just about $20,000 and counting. I can't wait to send you updates and pictures from camp. Please feel free to reach out to me personally anytime to learn more about what we're doing and how to get involved. We'd love to have you visit us at camp or at school. And I think for the first time in history, we've actually finished a little bit early. So Asha, do you want to close us out?
Yeah, everyone, definitely. Oh my gosh, we have hit our goal. I just flipped back to the screen. Thank you so much, everybody, for donating. And that $20,000 that we've hit has just become $40,000, given our generous contributions for our matching goal. I can't thank you all enough for supporting DIF through this. It's been an amazing night and an even better night given the future state of all our kids. Our candidates are truly amazing. Look at that $40,000 hit the screen. Thank you. So now we're at the end of our program. Thank you all for coming to our second annual Kid Presidential Debate, and thank you for making a difference for our students. As we say goodnight again, I'm super hopeful that our future generations can teach us how to listen better, respect diverse voices, and think critically about the messages we read and hear. Have an amazing night, everyone. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.